The realization didn't come with a bang. It came in silence, in the quiet decay of a server farm in the Mojave Desert. Dr. Aris Thorne watched as blinking red lights signaled the death of data, a terabyte of cultural history corrupting before his very eyes. The predicted digital dark age had arrived. Magnetic tapes had demagnetized, SSDs lost their charge, and cloud servers proved vulnerable. Humanity had recorded more information in the last century than in all previous millennia. Yet we had written it on the equivalent of sand. "We're building a house of cards," Aris whispered to the humming machinery, "and the wind is picking up." That evening, in a Zurich basement, Aris met with Elara Vance, a structural engineer known for building asteroid-proof bunkers, and Julian Kaelen, a historian obsessed with what he called the Great Erasure, the history we had already lost. "We cannot save everything," Aris said, sliding a piece of black, volcanic glass across the table. "But we can save what matters. This is a synthetic, non-structured quartz glass. It doesn't rot. It doesn't rust. It's immune to electromagnetic pulses. If we etch data into this using femtosecond lasers, it will last for 10,000 years. Maybe more." Elara picked up the shard. It was cold, heavy, and infinitely dark. "And where do we put it?" "We don't put it in a cloud," Aris replied. "We put it in the earth. Deep, where the tectonic plates are silent." They called it the Obsidian Vault. The location was a secret, known to only 6 people. A granite peak in the Norwegian interior, far from fault lines, rising against the Arctic sky. Construction took a decade. This wasn't a place for human comfort. It was a tomb for knowledge. The entrance was a massive circular door of titanium and concrete, designed to be opened only from the outside, and only by someone who understood the mathematical principles etched into its surface. Inside, the architecture was brutalist and solemn. There were no lights. The vault was designed to sleep in darkness. The air was purged of oxygen and replaced with inert argon gas to prevent chemical degradation. Elara Vance oversaw the hollowing of the mountain. "It feels like we're building a time machine," she said one day, overlooking the cavernous central chamber. "Better," Aris replied, his voice echoing. "A time machine only lets you watch. This lets you remember." Then came the great transcription, an agonizing process of selection. What does a civilization save? They etched the genome of the wheat plant and the blueprint of the human eye. They etched the entirety of Wikipedia, frozen in time, and schematics for the steam engine, the transistor, and penicillin. But Aris insisted on what he called vanished knowledge. He spent years tracking down fragments of lost history. He encoded the reconstructed sounds of Proto-Indo-European languages, the star charts of Polynesian wayfinders, and the oral histories of Amazonian tribes, including medicinal plants now extinct. They were not just saving facts, they were saving the human soul. 5 years after the vault was sealed, the world began to unravel. A solar superstorm fried the global electrical grid, wiping out the internet in seconds. Financial markets collapsed, leading to resource wars. The digital cloud humanity's collective brain. Knowledge reverted to what was written on paper, and paper burns. Libraries were looted for fuel. The advanced physics needed to build a nuclear reactor was forgotten within a generation. Aris Thorne, now an old man, lived in a small cabin miles from the vault. He watched smoke rise from the cities in the south. Around his neck, he wore the only physical key to the vault's airlock. "It's not time yet," he told the frail Elara. "If we open it now, they will just loot it. They aren't ready to remember." "When will they be ready?" Elara wheezed. "When they are tired of forgetting." Aris died that winter, but before he passed, he did something controversial. He didn't give the key to a successor. He walked to the frozen lake at the base of the mountain and dropped the key into a fissure in the ice. The vault was now truly alone. It would only open to a civilization clever enough to crack its code. Centuries bled into millennia. The mountain stood unchanged. The titanium door became covered in lichen, then buried in a landslide, then exposed again by glacial melt. Inside, in the argon-filled dark, the obsidian discs sat in their racks, holding the ghost of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, the cure for smallpox, and the poetry of Rumi. They held the secrets of quantum mechanics and the recipe for sourdough bread. They waited. Outside, humanity went through a bottleneck, a great regression. They reinvented the wheel, rediscovered iron, and looked at the stars with wonder. Legends grew about the mountain of the gods. Taboos prevented people from digging there. It wasn't until the year 4200 AD that a new kind of explorer arrived. Her name was Kaelen, an archaeologist of the new rationality. Her civilization had steam power and primitive electricity, but lacked a deep history. Kaelen had found references in ancient geological surveys to an anomaly in the mountain's density. She brought a team of miners and engineers. It took them 3 months to clear the landslide and reveal the door. "It's not natural," Kaelen said, running her hand over the pitted titanium. She saw the symbols etched onto its surface, mathematical constants. Pi, the golden ratio, the atomic weight of hydrogen. "It's a test," she realized. "It's an intelligence test." It took her team 2 years to decipher the mechanism. They had to reinvent advanced hydraulics to trigger the opening sequence. When the tumblers finally clicked, the sound was like a thunderclap. The massive door groaned open with a hiss of escaping gas. Kaelen stepped into the darkness, holding a lantern. She walked down the long hallway, her footsteps echoing in the silence of 5,000 years. She reached the central chamber. Her lantern light caught the rows of black glass. Millions of them. She approached the nearest podium, where a plaque showed pictograms on how to build a laser reader. Next to it was a single, smaller disc. She didn't have a reader yet, but she had a microscope. She placed the small disc under her lens. The etched lines resolved into letters. It was a letter from Aris Thorne. "To those who find this, we were a civilization of great power and great fragility. We reached for the stars, but we forgot to tend to the earth. We built this place, not because we thought we were perfect, but because we knew we were flawed. We wanted you to know us. Do not make our mistakes make new ones. Climb higher than we did." Kaelen pulled back, tears in her eyes. She looked up at the towering shelves of obsidian shimmering like dark stars. She wasn't just in a library. She was in the collective memory of her ancestors. The Dark Ages were over. She turned to her team, who stood in awe at the entrance. "Bring the lights," she commanded, her voice steady. "We have a lot of reading to do. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next one.